So one of the largest Bitcoin mining companies is on the verge of bankruptcy. This is Core Scientific. As it says in this title, Bitcoin miner Core Scientific shares plummet after bankruptcy warning. The world's largest Bitcoin miner said it will not make payments that are due in the next few days as its reserves dwindle. So here just shows a picture of Core Scientific's actual main facility. It's in North Carolina, and we're going to look at the energy prices for North Carolina in a little bit. The world's largest Bitcoin miner, Core Scientific, warned that it may have to explore bankruptcy if it fails to improve its final condition, sending shares spiraling about 70% in the market traded. The miner has said it anticipates existing cash resources will be depleted by the end of the year, possibly sooner. Substantial doubt exists about the company's ability to continue as a going concern for a reasonable period of time, says in the filing Thursday. The miner is exploring a number of strategic alternatives for raising additional capital. It has hired engaged Gorstal Managers LLP as legal advisors and PJT Partners as financial advisors. Should the capital raise alternatives fail, the firm may have to file for bankruptcy protection, Core Scientific said. It then goes on to say about the Austin, Texas-based company will not make payments due in late October and early November 2022, so that's around now, with respect to several of its equipment and other financing. It said in a filing Thursday, creditors may decide to sue the company for non-payment or take action with respect to collateral. The firm is exploring a variety of options to address its shortfalls, including hiring advisors, raising additional capital, and re-instructing its existing capital structure. Core Scientific's woes reflect the depressed state of the Bitcoin mining industry, with firms squeezed between high electricity costs and a muted Bitcoin price. One of Core Scientific's peers, Computer North, filed for bankruptcy in September, owing as much as $500 million to at least 200 creditors. And if you look on the side of the page right here, you can see that Bitcoin is at $20,000 per coin, and that doesn't really help all these miners. Bitcoin touched an all-time high of almost $70,000 in November of last year. Since then, the world's largest cryptocurrency has slumped, dropping below $20,000 in June. Since then, it has stubbornly hung around the $20,000 level, meaning miners have struggled to break even. As we said, on the side of the page, you can see that the price of one Bitcoin right now is $20,587. Was actually lower at around $18,000, I believe, something like that, but it's obviously gone up a little bit now. If we take a look at the stock chart for Core Scientific, we can see that it only started around April of last year, and now has had a steady rise into October of last year, and then it had a peak, which was obviously for Bitcoin mining. It was before the crash, and then subsequently after the crash, we can see this dip all the way down to 30 cents per share. Now it was at around $14 per share, so it's lost a considerable amount, 70.26% in the last year. Now the reason for this is that obviously Bitcoin prices are low right now, and the electricity cost is very high. When we look at North Carolina's electricity rate, we can see that the average, if we scroll down here, is 11 cents .37 per kilowatt hour. Now that is very low considering the whole world electricity costs, but is not low enough to mine Bitcoin. Bitcoin's actual mining profitability, even on the most efficient ASIC miners, is around 4 cents per kilowatt hour. So you need to effectively half that to start making really good profit margins on Bitcoin, even with the S19 Pros and the S19 XP Pros. These are the most efficient Bitcoin miners, and we could see them go unprofitable in the coming months if Bitcoin falls or if the electricity prices increase. Now looking down here at North Carolina's fuel options or energy options, I just want to touch slightly on solar power. Obviously North Carolina is a sunny place, but the solar power is actually nearly as much as the coal power in this state, which is actually pretty good because there's this whole argument about using renewable sources, and obviously solar taking over coal would be great for the state. There is also the fact that nuclear power is up there, which is a very efficient way of powering a grid, but unfortunately still natural gas is at the top by a long shot. So we should see more adoption of solar panels and renewable energies in the future. Just right now, nuclear is kind of trying to set up to be the most efficient one, but natural gas is always going to be at the top for a while. Now lastly, when we look at Core Scientific again, it says that they have raised their Bitcoin mining hosting rates. So if you didn't know, Core Scientific actually owns a certain percentage of their own Bitcoin mining rigs, and then they have other people send their mining rigs in and they'll host them. People that send them in are sending them in because North Carolina has lower electricity costs. These miners can come from around the world. Mainly we saw China migrate their mining rigs over when the China crash happened, when it was banned. So we've seen a lot of mining rigs come over into the US. A lot of Bitcoin mining companies have taken on more machines, which obviously means more electricity to spend. And subsequently, obviously, the mining rates had to go up because there wasn't enough profits in the electricity prices right now. So they actually increased it around 6 days ago, which is not good, seeming they're looking like they're going under for bankruptcy in around a week's time if they don't make the payments or they don't get their alternative financing. It says here the latest price hike for Core Scientific, which had previously raised its rates by 20 to 25% in recent months because of the soaring energy cost. Obviously, we just covered that, with the price of Bitcoin stubbornly hanging around 20,000. As I said, it just goes over here the hosting service that data centers provide on crypto miners so that customers can store their mining rigs and mine digital assets for a fee without having to build the infrastructure themselves. So they basically just take the machines, or you can send them out there and you can buy machines off these companies. Core Scientific has both a hosting and mining business with 22.5 exahash per second of its own and other computing power in its data centers across the US. The company is actually losing money as of late on hosting operations, according to its most recent earnings report. So not only can they not pay the loans, but they also can't pay the people to host their rigs anymore. So those rigs will have to actually be sent back to the people that own them. This could actually cause a drop-off in the Bitcoin hash rate by around 10%. Now, if we just head over to the Bitcoin hash rate, we checked this out yesterday, but we can see that the average hash per day is 276 exahash. As it said back on this article, Core Scientific actually owned 22.5 exahash of the whole Bitcoin hash rate. So that is around 10% of the full Bitcoin hash rate. And if that goes offline, there will be a difficulty problem on the network. Difficulty on the network will drop, and this means that coins are easier to mine. It could also cause a price gouge where if this happens too often, let's say Core Scientific goes under and then another couple of Bitcoin miners go under, it could cause deflation in the actual Bitcoin cycle, because Bitcoin is obviously linked to electricity usage, and you can kind of convert that back into how much the coin would be worth if nobody was speculating on the price. If this does happen, it could lead to basically no miners mining the coin, which would reduce the electricity cost, and therefore you can't link it back to the electricity anymore. Or if you did link it back to the electricity, Bitcoin would technically be worth less. So let's hope that Core Scientific does find out some ways to actually bring in more credit, or they'll have to sell off their Bitcoin mining rigs. Most likely they will probably start selling them off to other mining rigs in the US, and then they'll have to return their mining rigs to the people that owned them and the people that they were hosting for. So overall, I think we're in a dire situation with Bitcoin mining and just crypto mining in general. Obviously, this crypto winter is going to be very hard for the next 2 years before anything even happens with the price of Bitcoin and other coins can start to see price increases. If you did find this video helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Also, don't forget to check out the recommended video at the end of this video.